Okay, so do you remember how old you were when the war started?
Yes, I was, see, that was in 44, so I would have been 17.
Really? Oh, cool beans.
Just about the same age as you girls, but a bit older, yes.
That's kind of weird. That's a little weird. So, I don't know, we were just wondering if you could just tell us anything or everything that you remember.
You know, I will start telling you some stuff, but it's really hard because if you would ask a question, then that would remind me of a lot of things.
Okay.
Okay, let me tell you, my brother was in the Air Force, and Grandpa was in the infantry. Okay, that's to start with. Now, Grandpa was in the Philippine Islands, and then they sent him to Germany afterwards. And your Uncle Wayne, who you never knew because he was gone before you were here, and he was in the ground control of the Air Force, and he was stationed in England. And his job was to bring planes in after they had been on combat and flying. And that's what, I had two cousins that were killed in World War II. One of them was killed in Guadalcanal, the battle there. The other one had been in Guadalcanal, and he came home, and he was a test pilot. And he was testing a plane in California, and he was killed. It crashed, and he was killed. Okay, I'll tell you, I remember, we didn't have television. We had a radio, and that's all. We lived in a little farming community, and I remember when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, we're all sitting around the radio listening, because that's the only way we had of knowing anything. Okay, let me think what else. Okay, of course, they declared war immediately, and the boys were drafted as soon as they were 18 or when they finished high school. If they were 18, they got to finish high school before they took them. But they were drafted right away. And they went for 6 weeks of basic training, they called it. And then after that 6 weeks, they were sent to wherever. Sometimes overseas, sometimes other places. Let me think. We were rationed. Everything was rationed. Gas, sugar, flour, shoes, oil. You had coupon books. And when you did, and when you went to buy your gas or whatever, and if you ran out of coupons, you couldn't buy it, no matter how much it cost, how much money you had, you could not buy it.
No way.
Let me think. You've got to think of some questions to ask, too, so that'll help me think of something else.
Okay, so when you were, what was it? Okay, so I think didn't the war start with whatever, European countries in like
Yes, we weren't in it at first.
Mm-hmm.
If you've read about it, we were giving aid to England and Spain, some of those, but we were not in it fighting at first until the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, and that's when we got into combat.
So when we went into the war, you were living in Kansas, right?
Yes.
So, like, did everybody, like, a lot of your friends or anything go out there to the war?
Oh, Blythe, there was no men left in town of draft age, the young ones. Everybody, if you were 18 to 35, you were drafted, unless you had a physical problem and couldn't go, or sometimes but see, not really much. In rare cases, they would defer farmers because they needed them to work on the farm. In rare cases, and this is another thing. The women all started going to the factories and working to make make arms and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, wow.
Let me think what else would be interesting to you. What's your friend's name?
Amelia.
Amelia, ask any questions you want to. If I can't answer them, I'll tell you. I don't know. But,
so since everybody went off, did you have to help on your farm too?
Oh, absolutely. You did anyway. It was a lot different.
Oh, yes. Well.
We did anyway. But yeah, you were. And this is kind of funny. After we got out of high school, I went to business college. And when I started to business college, there was no guys in the whole school.
Oh my gosh.
Now, this wasn't a huge school. It was probably a school of about a couple hundred is all. I went to Hutchinson, Kansas, and there was none.
Oh my gosh.
Because they were all fighting. They were all in the service. You were drafted and you had to go. There was not a choice. You had to go.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That's pretty scary.
So, wait, Grammys, how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had one brother and two sisters.
Okay, so did both of them stay and help out on the farm, or did any of them like leave to go to factories?
You all did, honey. You all worked. You just did because there wasn't anybody else to do it. As I say, my brother and Grandpa was both in the service because they were drafted just as soon as they graduated from high school. They were drafted.
That's scary. What is the Baton March?
That was against the Japanese, and Grandpa was there in the Philippine Islands when that happened, and he was lucky. He could type, and not very many men in those day and age could type. So they needed somebody for office work, and so they came and got him, and he didn't have to go to the front lines when they had the Baton March because not very many came back.
Oh, so wait, so is that what Papa did? He stayed and he typed stuff?
Well, whatever they wanted him to do. He was in the Army. But whatever needed to be done, that's what he did. But what kept him out of it, going to the front lines, was the fact that he could type.
Oh, wow. So was it just in the Baton March, or was it like in almost everything when he was out
there? If you've
there?
ever studied the Baton March, it's when they were fighting the Japanese, and they called it the Baton March because the Japanese just slaughtered the Americans then. It was awful.
That's hard.
So let me think, what else? Trying to think what else. And there's lots of stuff, but I just...
Did you guys write letters?
Huh?
Did you guys write letters?
Oh, sure.
Yeah?
You didn't get them for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was World War I, though. Your mom has she got those postcards framed somewhere?
Yep, she has them framed in my room.
Okay, those cards, but that was during World War I. That was Grandpa Waters.
Mm-hmm.
Not your grandpa; it would have been your great grandpa.
Yeah.
He was in World War I, and those were some of the postcards he sent back from France when he was there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Let me see. And when Grandpa was in the Philippine Islands, then after the war, he was sent to Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And they called them occupational troops, and they were over there to help. Germany had been bombed and was in bad shape, so he went over there to do whatever. But he said the German people themselves were very, very nice. They did not want the war they were in. It was Hitler and all the Nazis that wanted it. But for the most part, he said that the German people were really nice. And he was there for a couple of years.
Years?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was in about a year and a half. He was in the Philippine Islands, and then he came back and he went to Germany for 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
And none of it was short term. Everything was. You were there for the long haul. Yeah. Let me see. Uncle Ray wasn't in World War II. He was in the Korean War. The Korean War happened just after the World War II, and he was in that. He was in the Navy. Let me think.
What were you gonna ask?
What about the bombings in Japan?
What about, honey? What'd you say?
What about the bombings in Japan? What do you remember of that?
When they dropped the atomic bomb?
Yeah.
That's what ended the war, really. But I don't know any more about that, much more than you've heard, because you just heard about it, and it flattened the Japanese. But if they hadn't have done that, there would have been lots more casualties, because they were just slaughtering us at the time. If you remember, the Enola Gay was the plane that flew over Japan and dropped the first atomic bomb. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
That's what really ended the Japanese war.
Okay, so, and it's okay if you don't remember, but, okay, in the very, very, very beginning of World War II, we know that London was, like, heavily bombed by Germany. Do you remember anything about that?
Yes, I do.
You do?
But,
talk. That's what our project is on.
You know, to start with, we were not going to be in the war. We were giving England and France, Spain, all those things. We were giving them aid, like arms and all sorts, whatever they needed. But we weren't going to fight. Well, in the end, we did.
So,
and that's why, as I say, my brother went to England. He was in the Air Force, and he went to England.
So, when all the other, when, like, they went to war and, like, the U.S. wasn't in the war, were you guys rationed at all, or was that not until the U.S. went into the war?
Now, what's that again?
When, you know how you said when the U.S. went into the war, everyone was rationed things, right?
Well,
so
the rationing took a little time. I mean, you didn't ration immediately.
Oh, okay.
But soon afterwards, everything was rationed. You could you couldn't buy a pair of shoes without a ration card. You couldn't buy sugar. You couldn't buy flour. You couldn't buy gas. You couldn't buy oil.
Oh my gosh.
I was trying to think of all the things that were rationed. I don't remember clothing being rationed, but I remember not being able to buy a pair of shoes because you only got, depending on the number in your family, you got so many pairs of shoes.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh.
And you still had, that didn't mean you didn't pay for them. You paid for those shoes.
Mm-hmm.
But you couldn't buy them no matter how much money you had if you didn't have a coupon.
Oh, wow. That's kind of crazy.
It really is.
So,
in those days, people were much more patriotic than they are now.
Oh,
well, they were. Everybody wanted to be, I mean, they didn't want to fight, they didn't want to be killed, but everybody wanted to be in the war, to help out, whatever it took. Whatever it took, everybody wanted to do it. You know, if you talk to any of the World War II veterans, they were all happy to have been there. They didn't like what happened, but they were happy to have been there. And your grandpa was too. He was glad he's glad he went. He's glad he served.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. Because everybody sounds like, I don't know, what we learned, it's just like not, that's very interesting. So, anyways, when we were talking about, we said that the huge bombings in London, did you say you remembered anything about that in the very, very beginning of the war?
Well, it was bombed all the time. I mean, if you're talking the very, very beginning, not too much, because we weren't in it that time. So
okay.
We weren't in it when the war first started. When did it start? It started
in 1940.
1914, yeah. See, we didn't
40.
get until 1917 is when the United States got into it, I think. And so we knew all about it because we were giving them aid. But it was when we declared war on both Germany and Japan. And that's when we started getting into the war.
So even before the U.S. was into it, did you guys hear a lot about it?
You know, we did. You know what? Let me tell you something, Blythe. It was like you heard about it, but because we weren't in it, that was in Europe. So it didn't bother us. See what I'm saying? But people, you think you weren't in that, so we didn't pay as much attention. Let's put it that way. I'm sure there's some people that did, but we didn't because we thought we weren't ever going to be in it. Just, you know, lots and lots of casualties. When my brother first went to England, they didn't have barracks and things for soldiers to live in, so they had to live in homes. People took them in their homes.
Oh my gosh!
And that's where they lived.
So he lived in somebody's house?
They lived in with people, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because there wasn't any place, you know, they sent all these soldiers over to help, but there was no place for them to live. So they actually lived in people's houses, lived with families.
Oh, wow. That's kind of crazy.
That is.
Wow, to be, just go somewhere living, hello there, I'm going to live with you now. No, that is, it's weird, it's kind of strange, but it's resourceful, though.
Well, you know what it is the fact that in those days, I think more than now, the English people wanted to help just like the American people wanted to when they went over there. It was, everybody had to do it to get things done.
Okay, that's better.
So are you guys at school? Are you at school? Are you Are you at school? Are you? Oh no, you're home.
Yeah, we're home.
I
It's
see
fancy.
you're over.
Yeah, we're at home. Because we didn't have school today.
You take your ACTs this morning or whatever you're going to do.
Oh, actually, that was yesterday. So
How was that? Were they hard?
parts of it were hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Did you take it too?
Yeah.
Were they hard?
Yeah, parts of it. I know the science part was hard.
Science was hard.
Yeah.
That was very
Okay,
hard.
but this is just a practice one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it doesn't count. So, I mean, which is good, because it doesn't hurt us if we do bad. But I think we did okay. I
Well,
think
it's a good experience. Now, next year when it counts, you'll know the kind of questions they're going to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, what other questions?
I'm trying to think.
I had like a list in my mind, and then it just was like, poof.
You should have been writing all that down.
I know. All right, you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna get a piece of paper. Hold on.
Are you in the classes with Blythe?
I'm in quite a few with her, actually.
Good.
Yeah, we're in our history class together, so that's what we're doing this for, is our
That's
history
what this
class.
is about. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Let me see. Your dad didn't go. He wasn't drafted, right?
No,
No.
he was not in. My dad was not in the wars. No, Grandpa Waters was in World War I, but no.
Oh, okay.
He was. It was the age. He was in between.
Oh.
He just missed the draft of World War I, and he was too old for World War II.
Oh my gosh, lucky duck.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was all by age. You were drafted no matter, what I mean, no matter what.
Mhm. So what else? Let me see. Did you lose a lot of if you had friends that went over? Did you lose a lot of friends?
Did I miss a lot of friends?
No. Did you lose? Like, did a lot of your friends die in the war?
Well, I had two cousins that did. Let me think. Close friends, no.
Mhm.
People from the area where I live, yes, there were some that did. But I didn't have any close friends that were killed in the war, which that was really
That's
pretty
lucky.
good for me,
Yeah.
because there was a lot of fatalities.
Yeah. Wow. Oh. Okay. We have.
What then was a lot different now, because they didn't have all this nuclear weapons and all that stuff. Everything until the atomic bomb, there was no nuclear weapons. Everything was guns and rifles, and this is how you fought. Grenades, big grenades, cannon, that kind of tanks, lots of tanks.
So at home, other than rationing, did you guys do anything else to, war support or anything like that?
Yeah, we wrapped. That's a good one. We wrapped bandages for the Red Cross.
You did what?
Wrapped bandages.
What do you
In
mean?
those days, you didn't have all the stuff that now. Yeah, we had cloth and we cut strips and wrapped bandages to send to the Red Cross. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool. Did you guys just do that, like, on your spare time and then, like, send them in?
Well, it had to be organized. You were organized, and they would have stations where they had all. You know what it is like? We didn't have the fabrics and stuff. They had the fabrics, but they had all this had to be done and packed up. And we did rations. We fixed up packages to send to the GIs.
Oh. That's
we
cool.
did all that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, what else? Let me see. Come on, Amelia. Start thinking here.
I'm thinking.
You would really find out a lot if you knew of anybody that fought in the war. Like if Grandpa was here, he could tell you so much more.
Do you
than
remember?
I can.
Did he ever tell you anything that you remember?
He did early on. In years gone, no. After that, no. He said a lot when he first came back, because it was really, when he was in the Philippine Islands especially, it was really, really a terrible fight. A lot of casualties. No, it was bad. When he was in Germany, it wasn't so bad. He said Germany was a beautiful country, and the people were really nice, but he was there they did lots of things to help people get started, rebuild buildings. I don't know what all we did. Anything that was needed.
Okay.
So that wasn't so bad. But when he was in the Philippine Islands, it was bad.
So, like, now soldiers, they get leave, you know, they're off for war, then they get to come home for a while, and then they have to go back. Did Papa get that?
You were in for so many years, and you get, and sometimes if you were in the service a long time, you were sent home, and you get a furlough, they called it, for a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or something, and then you had to go back. Because you were drafted. I started to say enlisted. Very few people enlisted. Everybody was drafted.
Oh, wow.
And you were drafted for so many years. The duration of the war are so many years. And when Grandpa was in the Philippine Islands, he re-enlisted just to get to come home.
Oh, really?
And of course, and then that's why he had to go to Germany later on. But that was a real good experience. That one was not bad.
So if he didn't re-enlist, would he have been there longer?
He would have been there longer before he got to go home, yeah.
Oh, that's kind of backwards.
Yeah.
No. You re-enlisted. Okay, so, say he was in for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then he should have gotten to, or he wasn't, they weren't ready to send him home. So he re-enlisted, which signed up for another 2 years to get to come home. Then they got to come home, and then he was sent out again. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So, other than wrapping bandages, did you guys do anything else when you were at home that you remember?
Let me think. No, I don't think so. We fixed up care packages and wrapped bandages in war effort. I did not go. I mean, some people went. Like I told you, some people went away to. We lived in a very, very small town.
Mm-hmm.
So some people went to. In Kansas, it would be Topeka and Wichita and Kansas City, those places, and worked in these defense plants, they called them, and they were plants to where they made war material, guns or ammunition or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And some people went to those places and worked in those places. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But I didn't do that. Neither did my sisters. We didn't do that.
Did any of your friends or cousins or anybody do that?
Oh yeah. Lots of people did it.
Oh, really?
We were just a little bit young for that,
Oh.
Was the reason that we weren't in that. Oh, when I got out of high school, that's something I did. I went to Pratt, Kansas, and worked in what they called a PX, and that was on an Army base, and it was PX stands for Post Exchange, and this is where they sold or it's a commissary for soldiers to come in and get equipment, things they need. Soldiers that were living around their base were married, or even if they weren't married, if they lived around the base, there was a commissary where they could come and get food cheaper than buying it elsewhere. And I worked there for a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
I'd forgotten about that.
Okay, what else?
See, you got to ask questions, and then it makes me think of something else. That's been a long time ago,
Yeah, that was, I can't count that far back.
That was
we were actually in
60 or
war
70 years ago, I think.
In 1917 and 1918. But everything lasted longer than that because it took so long to get everything back to order again. Like Grandpa had to go to Germany, and Japan was the same way. Japan was demolished, but we went in and helped them get straightened out again after.
Yeah. Oh, the wreck.
So actually, the actual work was a lot longer than the 1917 and 18.
So, when we were looking at, like, when the Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, like, some people were like, yes, the U.S. should go to war, and some people were, no, go to war. What were the people, like, around you? Like, were they for going to war, or?
Oh, around where I was, go for war. They bombed our people. They killed, 1,100 people or something?
Something like
1,100 or something they killed in that.
It was a lot.
First bombing at Pearl Harbor. Yes, everybody said go.
Oh.
I didn't hear anybody say not go.
Really?
I suppose there was those, yeah. Because they bombed us. No, that was awful.
Wow. Okay, what other questions do I have, Grams?
I don't know. You got to. I was in hope. I should have told you yesterday. Start jotting down lots of stuff because to sit here and start talking. I don't remember a lot of stuff. Then you ask a question, and then that brings to mind things.
Mhm. So you guys had were there like a lot of radio like broadcasts?
Radios was the only message. Oh, and newspapers. Radios and newspapers was the only means of communication. There was no televisions. There was no other way of communicating but hearing it over the radio and reading the newspaper.
So was the majority of the stuff that you heard over the newspaper or the radio was the majority of it about the war, or?
Well, that's the only way you had it. Yeah, everything was about the war, but that's the only way you could hear it or read it.
Mhm.
I don't remember the newspaper near as much as I do the radio. We were just around that. We had just a little box kind of radio set at the table. We'd all be crowding around it to listen. Every night we did that.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's the only way you could hear.
Mhm.
Lots of things have happened in the last.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh wow.
You got a cute dress on. What do you have on?
Who?
You.
Oh.
Well, she ain't got the dress on. What do you got on?
I just have a shirt and then.
Dress at the top. Oh.
Yes, it's just
That looks cute.
a nice. It's very comfy, so I like it. It's very comfy.
That looks cute.
Oh, thank you, Grammys. Okay, other questions I have. Were there a lot of Japanese people living around you in Kansas?
Blythe, I lived in a farming community.
Mm-hmm.
There was no Japanese, none whatsoever in the area that I was in. But if I had lived in a bigger city, there would have been. And if you remember right, a lot of those Japanese people, and they were good Americans, some of them, and they were sent to camps because they didn't trust them. No, that was sad. But I didn't know of any of that. I had none lived around us.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I don't even remember hearing it. I remember that more about reading about it than knowing about it at the time. I didn't really know that much about it.
Wow. Let me see. Okay, so so one of the things that we learned was about like propaganda and posters and stuff. Did you see any of that at all? Like,
What was fun? Oh, this is fun. The women that went to, in those days, this is another thing. In those days, there weren't very many women that went away to work. People grew up and they got married, and that's what they did. But so when they started sending all these people going and volunteering at these munition plants and defense plants, they were called Rosie the Riveter. The women were called Rosie the Riveter, and who was the propaganda? Again, you didn't have what you have now to get messages across for propaganda or anything else. But I remember, I'm trying to think who that was. Something Rose or something that came over the radio. That was, what they would do? She would come on and start telling stuff about the GIs and what was happening and what they needed and everything. And it wasn't true. You know what I mean? She was trying to get sympathy for Japan. Is what it was.
What's a GI?
That's really all I remember because, as I say, there wasn't the methods of communication that there are now. Lot different world we lived in then than we live in now.
What's a GI?
Oh, GIs is really government issue is what the GI stands for. But we still call that's what the men that were in the service were called GIs.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So, sorry, Grams. when you would get letters either from Papa or anybody, did they talk about the war when they were telling?
No, very little.
Really?
They weren't allowed to.
Oh.
They weren't allowed to.
Oh wow. So wait, what did they talk about then?
Well, what did they say? How much they missed home because they were homesick. It was hard. Most of them had never been away, and they were just like, think of Tom in 2 years, 2 or 3 years. That's how old they were.
Oh
wow.
Think of the guys that you're in school with are the ones that are seniors this year. Those are the ones that would have been going into the service.
That's crazy.
That'd be like my brother.
Yeah, that'd be like her brother.
That's kind of scary.
Your brother senior?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was like. If it would have been World War II, the minute he graduated from high school, he would be drafted, or if he 18 or finished high school is when you were drafted. If you were 18 before school was out, you got to finish school, then you were drafted.
Oh, okay.
And if you say you were 17 when you graduated, and you weren't 18 for a couple of months, then you weren't drafted until you were 18.
Oh, okay. So
now,
when
Papa's birthday was May 29th,
Mhm.
so he was 18 when he graduated, and they.
Oh my gosh.
A week later.
That a week later?
I can't remember. It wasn't very long. You know what it is? You had to register for the draft. You still register for the. Don't you register for the draft now? Don't boys still do that or not? Or register? Not register. Don't they have to register at 18?
Do they? I don't know actually.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Well, in those days, as soon as you were 18, you had to register, and as soon as they caught up, as soon as they caught up with you, boy, that's when you went.
Oh wow. So where did they go? So when they were, called or when they were drafted, where did they go for that?
I told you that a little bit earlier. They went to what was called basic training.
Where was that at?
Basic training. There was camps all over. Grandpa went to Fort Hood, Texas.
He went to Texas?
That's where you got 6 weeks of extensive training, combat training.
Okay.
Then you were ready to go somewhere else.
So was everybody spread out? Was like Uncle Wayne? Did he go to Texas too, or did he go somewhere else?
Now what was that?
So your other brother Wayne.
One brother, Wayne. Yeah.
Did he go to Texas too, or did he have to go somewhere else?
He went. You know where he went in Kansas. He was at this place called Pratt, Kansas. Is the same place that I didn't volunteer. I worked, but I got paid.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't there when I was there, but that's where he had gone for his basic training.
Oh, okay.
And then because he was in the Air Force, and he had to have, I don't know what they call them, where they bring planes in, lost planes. He went for more training. I think he went to California for that. So
okay.
He went for more training before he was shipped to England.
Oh, okay.
When he went into the Air Force, he thought he was going to be a pilot, but they didn't need that, or they didn't want him for that. They wanted him for something else. So you have to do what?
Oh, what they wanted you to do?
Hmm?
So, when you were drafted, did they basically just assign people like you're going to be in the Army and you're going to be in the Navy, or did you kind of have a say in that?
Okay, you got to put down what you wanted to be in, but that didn't mean you were going to get it.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't guaranteed, and sometimes you did. Wayne wanted to be in the Air Force, but he wanted to be a pilot. He didn't get to be the pilot, but he got in the Air Force. Grandpa, I'm not sure. I think he asked for the Navy, and he didn't get it. He got the Army. So it's just, you could ask for something, and maybe you'd get it, and maybe you wouldn't.
Oh, okay. So did you sign up for it when you when you were drafted, or when you were 18 and then you had to go?
No, not when you registered. You did not sign up for what you wanted. Now, if you would have enlisted, because they used to pressure they wanted people to enlist, and they would say if they enlisted, instead of being drafted, they would go where they wanted.
Oh.
But the majority did not enlist. The majority.
Were drafted.
You had guys that lied about their age and went in to the Army early.
Did you know people that did that?
Did we know people that did it? Because they thought it was. It wasn't. They weren't thinking it was cool. They thought they should do it. That's the way they felt. Some people did it for other reasons, to get away from home or do something else. But for the most part, it just people felt obligated. They felt they should.
Oh, wow. That's kind of cool, though. Different times. Much different than now.
You know, I wish you could talk to some. You know of anybody to talk to that was in the war? There's not very many left.
Yeah, you know, because it was so long ago, but
if you could have the chance to talk to anybody that was in the war,
mm-hmm.
you would learn so much more than me talking.
Oh, don't worry, Grams. We're learning quite a lot. Because what we're doing for our project is we're talking about the women and then children and men that were living in England at the time. So we were going to tie what you said to like all around the world. So that's what we're doing right now.
Are you talking about the men and women that lived in England?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because then that's helpful. Because the GIs, after a while they did build what they call barracks. I don't know whether they still call what soldiers live in barracks anymore. But in those days it was barracks.
Mm-hmm.
And in time they got barracks built in England for the people to live in. But when Wayne went over there, they weren't built yet. So then they lived with the families, with English families.
Was it like one soldier per family, or was it several soldiers?
They would be, not loads, but I think it was 2 or 3 or 4 soldiers to a household.
Oh my gosh.
That would live there. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's crazy.
Trying to think, I can't think yet. So you've got the English and the women and the children. I can't think of a lot else that I remember.
Oh, that's okay.
I remember my brother, you know, as I say, was bringing in these lost planes, you know, or people couldn't see, or the planes had been damaged. That was his job. And he was not in very good shape when he came home at first because it was so nerve-wracking. He wasn't hurt. It was just so nerve-wracking to have these lives depending on you to bring these planes in, you know. They couldn't see, or maybe they were too crippled to get back, and you had to try to bring these planes back to England.
Oh my gosh.
On a bombing mission in Germany.
So what he did was, were the planes like still flying and then they were having issues, or had they like crashed, or what exactly did he do?
They crashed. It was too late. Sometimes they were just injured planes or damaged planes.
Oh.
Sometimes it was people that dark and they couldn't find their way back. I don't know what all, but I just remember him telling that was what he did all the time he was there.
Oh, okay.
Bring in planes. Like, you know, like at all the airports here, they have the towers where the people help them come in on the right runway and all that. Well, that's similar, except this was a lot more primitive. That was, you know, that was like same type of thing, getting them back home again.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So you said that when they were in the war, they didn't like talk about it in letters, not just because like they couldn't, but when they came home, did everybody talk about it?
You know what it was? Depends on the person. Some people came home and they didn't want to talk about it at all. Other people did. But no, it was, you know, it was very traumatic. And some people handle it, some people couldn't.
Wow. Whoa. Were people different when they came home?
Were people different?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. They went in as kids and they came back as men. You know. That's the best way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
They matured 10, 20 years, and in a few years they were gone. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. When you said that you guys rationed, was that hard a lot of times for?
Ration? Oh yeah, because we never went hungry. Like there was always.
Well, yeah.
But you didn't have what you wanted. No. And and in those days, everybody made their bread. Nobody hardly ever bought bread.
Mm-hmm.
You made it all. Well, sometimes there was enough flour to make bread, and sometimes there wasn't enough flour to make bread. Same with sugar. You couldn't bake sometimes because you didn't have the sugar. Shoes, I told you about that already. You might need a new pair of shoes, but that didn't mean you could get it.
Oh, wow.
You had to get so many coupons. I can't remember how they were rationed. I can't remember how many you got in a period of time, but you know, like there were, well, actually, my brother was gone, so there would have been 5 in our family. There was 3 girls and my mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
So you would get rationing for 5 people.
Oh, okay. Okay, so... Okay, so another question. Oh, no. No, I just forgot. Okay, I gotta remember this.
Did people ever trade, like, the coupons?
I'm sorry?
Did people ever trade the coupons? Like, if you needed new shoes and someone needed flour, did people trade, or...?
No, I didn't understand that question. You mean did people trade coupons? Did they?
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Oh, no way. Did you guys do that?
I'm sure we did. I don't remember specifics, but I'm sure if somebody said we needed 5 pounds of sugar and we'll trade you our sugar coupon for our flour. Yeah, people did that. And another thing people did, they sold their coupons sometimes because they needed money.
Oh, wow.
So you would sell some of them sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. I had a question and I just forgot it. It flew out of my head. I got this, Grams. I'm going to remember. Okay. Oh, what was I going to say? Okay, so, when you lived on the farm, did you sell most of your stuff, or did you keep most of the food that you guys grew?
We raised, we had fruit trees, and we grew everything we ate just about except flour and sugar. Mm-hmm. All the vegetables, all the fruit, you just grew it all. But, like your farming stuff, like your wheat and your corn, and that you raised to sell. That's how you made your money, is you raised that. And Kansas, in the area that I lived in, was big for wheat. So there was just acres and acres of wheat. And that's how you lived. I mean, people raised cattle and pigs and chickens and.
So did any of the stuff that you guys did, like wheat or vegetables, did you have to send it overseas to the soldiers?
No, we didn't. I'm sure there's places but you had to be careful because stuff had to be refrigerated and stuff. And remember, in those days, there wasn't the refrigeration that there is now. Mm-hmm. But we didn't. Well, when the war went on, we had a refrigerator. When we first moved, or when I remember as a smaller child, we didn't even have a refrigerator.
What did you guys do? Did you do anything for it, or was there, nothing you could do?
Well, there's nothing you could do. You did lots of things. We had what we call cellars.
Oh, okay.
It was something dug in the ground, and it was so you could walk down in there, and you kept stuff down there for a while because that was cooler than it was in the house. You did that. You couldn't save stuff for lots of. You couldn't freeze it like we buy too much meat or intentionally you freeze it. Well, you didn't in those days. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of funny. I remember in Kansas we used to get. Did you have enough sleep last night? You've been yawning ever since.
I know, Grams. I don't know what's come over me. I'm just I did. I got an awesome sleep and it was great. I just don't know why I keep yawning.
Grandpa used to hunt rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
And we ate rabbits.
You ate rabbits? Cute little bunnies?
Well, not little white bunnies that you're thinking about, but the little brown bunnies you're thinking about, yes, we did.
Oh, wow.
And he would hunt rabbits and skin them and clean them, and then they would put sugar in those days came in cloth sacks. Mm-hmm. So they would put these rabbits in sacks and hang them. Now, this is when it was cold, below freezing. They would put these rabbits in sacks and tie them to the clothesline, and they would freeze. So then that was your refrigerator. You had frozen rabbits out there.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's nifty.
Now you're getting away from the war, and now you're getting into some of the farming habits.
That's okay, Grams.
You didn't have freezers, so you canned everything in jars. You had cans of vegetables, cans of fruit. We even canned chicken.
You canned chicken?
We called it cans, but it's really glass jars.
Oh, yeah.
You could put this chicken in these glass jars, then you'd put the whole thing in either pressure cookers or these big boilers you had sitting on the stove, and you would boil them simmer them for so many hours. Mm-hmm. Take it out and tighten the lids tight, and they were sealed and they would keep.
Oh, wow. That's cool. There goes the question out of my head again. I really gotta write these down. Okay. What was I gonna ask you? Oh, did you guys, did all the people around you, like, they didn't have to stop school or anything because of the war, right? Like, did everybody around you pretty much go keep up with school and stuff?
Well, through high school, yeah. The boys didn't have to go. I thought of one other thing. Grandma, now that was my mother.
Mm-hmm.
There was a army base near where we lived, which was called Fort Riley, Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And Grandma worked there repairing uniforms and all that kind of stuff, shortening them.
Oh, okay.
Also, she worked there.
Oh, so did she do that as, like, a job?
Yeah, she got paid. That was a job she got paid for. But she worked at the army base doing that.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so interesting. Do you have anything left from, like, or letters or anything from the war at all?
I don't know. No. I still might have that. I had a Japanese kimono once that Papa brought back. I think I still have that stuck somewhere.
Oh, no way.
What's a kimono?
Oh, you know those, like, okay, stereotypical Japanese lady, right? Like they have,
with
it's like the long thing and flare. Yeah. That's a kimono.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Uh-huh.
That's so cool. Oh, but did you say that people around you, like, they stuck with all through high school and stuff, right?
They what now?
They stuck, like, through high school and stuff?
Yeah, nobody had to leave to go to the army before they finished high school, no.
Oh, okay. That's good, though.
Yeah, they got to finish high school, and then they were drafted.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I'm yawning. I'm sorry.
Need a nap.
I don't need a nap. And I had a really good sleep last night, Grams.
Is this that boring, then?
No, it's very interesting. No, Grammys, it's not. You're not boring. No. I'm very interested. My brain is wired weirdly today. Do you have any questions?
I can't think of any.
Okay, what else? I'm trying to think of questions, Grams. Don't worry, it's getting there.
Take a minute and think. If you think of anything, as I say, you'll say something that makes me think of something else. Like I didn't even think about telling you about Grandma working at the army base.
Did a lot of people do that? Like, did a lot of people go and work at the army? Oh, okay. Wow. Weird. That's cool, though. So, I mean, did they split up jobs? So, like, some people were menders of uniforms and other people...
You know what? It's whatever you were good at. Grandma was a good seamstress. She was very good. So
oh, okay.
That's where they put her because that's what she was good at. Somebody else would have... I'm sure they trained people for a lot of jobs, too. But you just worked at different things. Whatever they needed.
Did you know any other, like, women that went over to the war to help out at all? For, like, to be a nurse?
I had this same cousins of mine where I told you they had 4 children. They had 3 boys and a girl. All 3 boys were in the Army or Navy or some armed force, and the girl was a nurse.
Oh, did she go overseas?
Yes, she was a nurse. She worked for the Red Cross, and she was overseas.
Oh, wow.
And as I say, they had 4 children, and 2 of them were killed, and 2 of them came back.
That's hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard. Wow. Wow. That's hard.
It was very hard. That happened to lots of families because there was a lot of casualties.
So if you did have like a relative or like a child that had died, how did you find out about it?
When somebody came from the armed services came knocking on your door and told you.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's oh dear. Did you ever, like, if they ever had anything with them, did you ever get it? Do you know anybody that ever, like, got anything back of theirs, or no?
You know anybody that came and knocked on their door and told them their son was...
No, like, if, say your son or something, they had died in the war, did you ever get any of their belongings or anything, or no?
Yeah, people did, I think, yes. I think people did. Whatever they might have. You know, everybody then had what they call dog tags.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen those?
Yeah.
Metal chains around your neck, and they had the little things on and had your name and number and serial number and so on and so on. Yes. You get that and any of the other personal things that they wasn't a big lot because you didn't have a lot.
Mhm.
But yes, they did get them.
Oh wow. Did a lot of people keep theirs, like their dog tags and stuff?
Well, we had Grandpa's for a long time. I'm not sure. I think I know where they are even.
Oh wow.
But Grandpa had this prayer book or Bible that he was metal on the inside on the covers, so you kept it in your pocket on the inside because that was supposed to help keep you safe.
Because it was metal.
I have that.
Oh, you still have that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. So when Papa was drafted, did he want to, or was he like nervous to go over? Or was he just like, yeah, woo, let's go? Or just like,
I think, you know what, like I think it's a mixture of both. I couldn't help but be nervous and afraid. You had to be, but at the same time, they wanted to go. They thought that's what they should do. But yeah, sure, they were nervous and afraid. You're afraid of the unknown, and you know where you're going. You're going into combat. It's not you're not going over there for vacation.
So you said people lied about their age. Like if you say you were 17 and you lied to be 18 to go, did everybody, or do you know anybody at least that lied, that said that they were young?
Anybody that lied, yes.
What about people that were, say you were 37, and did you know anybody that lied and said that they were like 34?
I didn't know anybody that was too old, but I knew some people that were young and lied about their age and went in, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, that'd be weird, though. That'd be like Tom going to war in 2 years. Oh, Grammys, I couldn't handle that. I couldn't handle that. How did you handle that?
Mm-hmm.
How did you do that? Because was your brother, was Wayne, was he a lot older than you, or?
He's 5 years older than I am.
Oh, okay.
And I had one sister, the sister that you don't know, that died too. I had one in between us. I was next to the youngest. Claire, the one you know, that's my youngest sister, and then me, and then Zola, and then Wayne.
Oh, okay.
And he was 5 years older than I was.
Were you guys like? Did you? I don't know. I'm trying to ask how to ask this. How did, like, when you found out that Uncle Wayne had to go over, and that your other cousins, like, how did you guys handle that, or was it kind of like this is part of life kind of thing?
Well, I'm sure we cried a lot, but at the same time, there's nothing you could do about it.
Oh, okay.
So you accepted it, and at the same time, you were very proud of them.
Mm-hmm.
Of what they were doing. You were very, very proud of them.
Oh, so was that kind of? Did a lot of people talk about it? Be like, yeah, my son is in the war, my brother's in the war.
You know what else? Oh, that reminds me of something else. You had it was a flag about like this, and around the edges it was red, and then it was blue, and if you had somebody in that, there was a star in the middle of it. If it was a blue star in the middle, that meant that person was, you hung these in your window.
Okay.
And if you had a blue star in the middle, that means you had a family member that was serving in the armed services. If it was a gold star, that meant he died.
Oh, okay.
If you had, some people would have one of these flags hanging in the window, and they would have both gold and navy stars in it. That meant they had somebody in the service that was fighting and somebody that had been killed. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was traumatic.
So, when did you guys get the stars? Like when somebody was drafted, did they, were the stars like delivered to you, or did you have to go pick them up, or?
You mean these stars? You mean?
Yeah.
No, you just went and bought them yourself.
Oh, okay.
Somebody in the service, and people could have done it and not have a person in the service.
Yeah.
But they didn't. No, they were for sale, and you went and bought them. You went and bought them yourself. This little flag to hang in your window, saying that, and you were very proud of this flag hanging in your window. That we had one hanging there with just one blue star because that's what we had. And Grandpa was, in another family.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow. Oh, how much older was Papa than you? Was he a lot older?
He was 18 months older than I was.
Oh, okay. Wow. Did you know him for a long time before the war?
Did I know him for a long time before the war? Yeah, quite a while. Several years. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All the high school years, let's put it that way.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you, Gramps.
We lived in another small town. So all of our high school years, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow. Wow, that's scary. That'd be hard. That's scary though to imagine somebody that's, okay, have fun, go to war, see you later. I don't know.
Well, it's life is sort of the same thing now. Except a lot different because those days were so much more primitive than they are now. But people enlist now. There's not a draft, and if people goes into the service, they've enlisted. They signed up because they wanted to, or for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Today, I understand a lot of guys do it because you come out and your college is paid for lots of times.
Yeah.
If you serve so many years, you come out. Do they have in the high school? Do they have what they call the ROT?
Yeah. Ours is sponsored by the Navy, so they call it NJROTC. So all the kids learn about Navy. So.
But I mean, the people that belong to that, when they get out of high school, do they have to serve in the Navy for a certain length of time?
They don't have to, but a lot of them do because a lot of them come from Navy families. My brother's actually in that. He's one of the lieutenant commanders.
If your brother decided to go into the Navy when he got out of high school, would he, if he served a certain number of years, would he get his college paid for?
He's actually, because of the program, you can get scholarships. He actually has a full ride to a higher end college because of it.
Oh, just because he's been in ROTC, he's got a full ride to school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Where's he going to go?
I think he wants to go to Marquette.
Oh, wow.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful.
And I think...
But then, now let me ask you something else. Is he in the reserves after he gets out? Like if they needed him, could they call him?
I think he's on delayed entry. That's all I really know. So.
Okay. I know one of Kate's cousins, she's in the medical side. She's overseas right now. I think she's a nurse, and they're paying for her college. So when she's not over there, she goes to school, and the Army pays for it. So.
Yeah, see, that even happened during World War II. When the GIs would come back, they could go to college, and the government would pay for it.
Oh, really? Did you know anybody that did that?
Well, Grandpa did, except he did not go to, he went to what was called a railroad communications school.
Mm-hmm.
And in those days, again, you had, like the little railroad, you got a little railroad station in Zion. Okay. Well, in those days, there were so many trains, they had somebody working at these little stations all the time. Wasn't like it is now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Like down here, if there's anybody down here, it's only because of selling tickets or this kind of stuff. In those days, they had people that helped regulate the trains and all that stuff. Now here, I think all that's done from Chicago here.
Okay. I think so.
Not these little depots is what they're called, or train stations. These little places. But now these little places are just where people get on and off of the train that are riding it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that then. So yes, he went there and it was paid for. And Wayne went to he was a pharmacist, and he went to college at Boulder in Colorado.
Oh, really?
So did Ray. Ray was in the Korean War, and then he came back and went to college there, and they were both pharmacists.
Oh, wow.
But they went on that then. So that was neat.
Okay. So when people